That make you go, you know, these aren't jokes, these are thoughts, these are things that make you say,
hey, Uma! Not to be popular, it's just I'm inspired by my brother, that Reality Temple's brother, the most powerful voice on the internet, that Reality Angel Snubbing Up 7. That's right, brother, I'm calling you out, brother. I'm building you, I'm putting you out there, brother. I'm shouting you out. That's my inspiration.
My brother Angel Snubbing Up 7 at the Reality's Temple, and to give props to him, because I listened to all of Angel Snubbing Up 7's videos. I think that he comes from a different angle, and there's a powerful message in a lot of the videos that he put out, and I try to catch all of them. I look at him as a free thinker and a person that's willing to challenge those of which he don't agree with or which he may think differently from, and I really respect him for that. He's challenged KNBS, and he has also challenged the black supremacy movement as well. And I have nothing against that, because that which cannot be challenged cannot stand and will not stand and will not survive the test of time. How many challenges we can withstand will determine how long we will be able to stand.
And my name is Myron. They call me SNIFFY. My name Myron Johnson. They call me SNIFFY. They call me SNIFFY. My cousin is Dr. Umar Johnson. I'm here to give y'all a message. Y'all better leave my cousin alone. That's what y'all better do. My cousin Umar doing good work for y'all. Y'all some stupid ass niggas, man.
We want to make sure that we're not just working to be first, but we're working to be right. A lot of times there are situations when things are just happening so fast. You've got breaking news happening. You've got storms moving in. When there's a breaking news situation, we get our crew to the scene. They're on the ground, they're asking the questions, gathering the information, and in the final seconds before you see us, we're getting that confirmation. It's always important to be fast, but we always want to be right.
And that is Brother Taalik from the Reality Temples on Earth channel. And if you get a chance to subscribe, please do subscribe to his channel. He's a good brother. You know, he's doing good work, and he wants to do good constructive things. He has good information to provide. So please do check out his channel if you get a chance.
Hey, my brother, you know I had to call you and thank you personally again. I cannot describe to you how happy I was to meet you in person, finally. That was just like amazing.
When soul singer and black activist Sam Cooke wrote the lyrics to his song, "A Change Is Gonna Come," it was very direct and to the point. With some changes to it, the song was still digestible. In the year 2019, black folks continue to go through the change rather than direct the change. A community activist named Taalik Ibn'rad has made an appeal similar to what Sam Cooke was asking for. A change. It's said that the meek shall inherit the earth. We ask when. When will the landlords give the meek a free lease? Mr. Ibn'rad is humbly asking for the state of Mississippi.
O'Shea shows.
Nick, selling drugs to, black people and then making some excuse about it, saying like, I'm a product of my environment. I didn't have any other choice. When, there's plenty of other choices than selling drugs and breaking the law. And we're talking about breaking the law. We're not talking from the moral standpoint. We're talking about lawful. Okay. So again, laws have consequences. Morals are just, subjective. But when you have laws and things on paper that say, if you do this, we're going to punish you by incarcerating you, and you break them and you're dumb enough to get caught, then you're just dumb.
All right. Shout out to Reality's Temple in the building. Well, just for myself, I got to get him on here, man. You talk about somebody polarizing. Whoa. that brother is, I'll leave that alone. Shout out to the brother, though. Just.
Free your mind.
How many books have you read? You read many books, right? How many DVDs and tapes and books? Again, you listen to the scholars and you have the information and you have the knowledge, you have the wisdom. But we need to verify one more source. It is wonderful that you read. It's wonderful that you listen to the scholars and all these persons that say this or that. And wonderful to get your education and your knowledge. There's one source that you refuse to do, and that source is your own eyes, your own mind. What you see with your own eyes, what your own brain can comprehend. So we want to do a little experiment right now. Very simple, very easy, not very complex. And I want you to report your conclusion. What are we trying to find out on this challenge? We want to find out, and not only this, but this includes the Aboriginal claim also. So you could easily flip the script and you can say, instead of African, you can say Aboriginal or whatever. Saying it's the same experiment, because there are those who are not only making the claim that they are associated or related to people in Africa, there are people who are saying more than their personal family is related to some Native American Aboriginal people. They are telling us, and some of them will get very, very angry, because they are telling us that we who are called the Negro, the African American, the colored people, black people born in America, they are saying that the descendants of slaves born in America, having melanated skin, dark skin, having African or Aboriginal ancestry, they're telling us that we are indeed, as a people, we are African, we are Aboriginal. This is what they're telling us. This is what we are. I want to remind you of something. While you're thinking about this, I want to remind you of some facts. There are animals like bears. Bears many bears are very similar. They may look very close to another bear species, but they are not that bear. There are many different kinds of bears. They are similar, but they are not the same. There are many kinds of different goats. They are similar, but not the same. Also, in some rare cases, or especially in domesticated animals, you will find that they can have all kinds of background because of that domestication. Because of domestication, they can have all kinds of background. Meaning, when you're dealing with a dog that's called a mutt, you don't know what pure breed that dog actually has in his genetic pool. That dog can look like a mutt, or that dog could actually look like one of the dogs that is in its genetic makeup. I'm going to say that again. You can have a mutt that can look like a German Shepherd, look like an Afghan Hound, or whatever is in that dog's genetic makeup, but it's not pure. It can look like a purebred dog because that's in its genetic makeup, but the dog is not pure. This is why the American Kennel Club, you have to keep records on your dogs, because they know that there are dogs that can be mutts that can be passed off as a purebred, simply because that dog does have that genetic marker in his makeup. Speaking of dogs, a dog is a descendant of a wolf, but a dog is not a wolf. Some of these dogs look like, if you're not careful, you may say that some of these dogs look like wolves, but they're not. Like some of these German Shepherds or Huskies, dogs like that, especially from far away, you might mistake them for a wolf, but they're not. They are dogs. The same thing with human beings. The same thing with the so-called Negro here in America. Because you do have these in your background, but you're not them. You can be a descendant of these people, but you're not them. A dog is not a wolf, but a dog is descendant from a wolf. Animals look similar, but they're not the same. So when we look at West Africa, and here you are, I have on my screen images of West Africans. So the first thing I want you to do, go around the internet. I want you to study West Africa, and you look in the mirror and you find the West African that you look like, because they are saying that we as a people are Africans, so we should look like these people. Oh man, just based on skin color, we are not West African. This is not to say it's not in your bloodline, but it's not you, simply based on skin color. Because the so-called Negro, your skin is from the lightest of the light to the darkest of the dark. None of your features are consistent so that you can claim any West African. Your features, your physical features are not consistent to say that you are native anything, Native American, Aboriginal, anything. You cannot take one brother, one sister, and say This is what African Americans or the Negro, the descendant of slaves with melanated skin, you cannot say this is us. We can look like anybody in our bloodline. And as you know, many of us right now, some of us passing for white because due to rape, we have that in our bloodline. And some of us are passing and they have on their birth certificate white, but they are not. They are part of the Negro race. They are part of the colored race. They are black people. Everybody is not black people. Black people was created in the United States of America due to chattel slavery. We are a domesticated human being. And when you talk about domesticated, domestic means to serve, that you've been bred and raised to serve. Domesticated plants are plants that no longer grow in the wild. They serve human beings. Domesticated animals, bred to serve human beings. And we are a people bred to serve somebody else. When they talk about housewives, they call that domestic work. She is doing that to serve her husband, serve her family. Domesticate. She's a servant. And a wife, a mother should be more than a servant, but that's what it's called. It's called domestic work. The work that she does at home. Cooking and cleaning and the things that a wife is supposed to do. So my challenge, I know you're educated and I know that you're scholars. My challenge to you, whether you are Aboriginal or whether you are calling yourself African, why don't you make a video and show us what you look like? Show us the West African. Now for me, it would be easy. I get called some type of African person all the time by black folks and by people from the continent. So it would be easy for me. But I know better. I know I am not Native American. I know I'm not African from that continent. I know that I am like the wolf. Not the wolf, I'm like the dog. I am a descendant. My ancestors was the original. And I am a domesticated version. I am like the dog. The dog is not a wolf. You're not African. You're not an Aboriginal. You're only fooling yourself. You are ashamed, and you should not be shamed. You cannot help where you come from. You're trying to be something that you're not. You want to be something that you're not. And those of whom you're trying to blend in with, they know that you're not. And they don't. If dogs go out into the forest, they are descendants of wolves. Those wolves are not going to accept them. Except in rare circumstance, it might happen. But wolves are not going to accept dogs. It's not going to happen. But a dog is where, the wolf is where the dog comes from. You want to be something so bad because you don't really understand who you really are, your potential, and what you can be.
Things that make you go, you know, these aren't jokes, these are thoughts, these are things that make you say.
One of the things that I am so happy to do is to expose some of this nonsense that we find in pro-black, black first, RBG Nation, Comedic, however you want to see it, these blackity black teachings. We need to see these teachings for what they really are. A bunch of feel-good nonsense, which was good when we were supposed to be, or we were in our childlike state years ago. You don't need these type of teachings. We are grown. We are adults. You don't need that type of feel-good nonsense. So for those of us who have elevated, those of us who have evolved, you know exactly where I'm coming from. You're not going to even try to question nothing that I say because you know I'm on point. You are an adult. You are grown. However, there are those who are still childlike and like children. They don't comprehend. They don't understand. They're not on our level. So I'm not speaking to those who still want to live in fairy tales, still live in Disneyland. Because a lot of these Afrocentric, pro-black type of teachings, they are fairy tales. One of the things that I was taught when I was involved in all that blackity black stuff, and it doesn't make any too much difference whether it's Black First or RBG Nation or Comedic or Hebrew Israelite. One of the things that these blackity black, so pro-black, love the black, whatever, folks, what they love to talk about because they suffer from low self-esteem. They need something in order to make themselves feel good. And one of the stories that I was told is that the black man. Now, I don't know whether it's black a people or it's black a race. They never really, I really don't know. So if you can put in the comment section, is black a race or is a people? And if we are black people, then, okay, we black people, part of the black race, but other people are called black people, part of the black race. See, it don't even, I'm not even gonna mess with it. That's why I leave all that race garbage to you guys, and y'all can explain that confused stuff. Now, one of the things they love to talk about is that the black man is the original man, the God of the universe. They love that word God. They love to be a God. Do they produce like God? No. Do they have any kind of power like a God? No. But it's nice to say. But that's because you have a childlike mind and you suffer from low self-esteem and you're too lazy and you really don't know how to really become a God, so it's easy to talk. So from these teachings, I was taught that the black man is the father of civilization. Civilization came from Mother, hey Terry. Civilization came from Africa. Woo! Yay! Black people created civilization. If I was you, that's something I would not really want to jump for joy about if you understand what civilization really is and what it's about. Let's talk about it real quick. Civilization. Now check it out. Civilization. One of the words you find in civilization is the word civil. There is nothing civil about civilization. Civilization is created due to violence, due to wars, conflict. There's nothing civil about civilization. There's nothing nice about it. When you find civilization, you find all our problems. Rape, murder, pedophilia, misogyny, all that kind of good stuff. All the stuff that you've grown to love because of civilization. Civilization. In the history of this nation, all over the world, they will tell you a lie about what they really are about. It's not real. They're going to tell a lie to make the United States look good, to make Canada look good, Russia, or even in Africa, those people, we're going to tell in this civilized society, we're going to tell this lie. We're not going to tell you how brutal we are, that we are dictators and we're terrorists of our own people, and we are enslavers of our own people. We're not going to tell the lie. We are destroyers of this planet. We are the rapists of this planet. We're just going to present this lie that everything that we're doing is for the best interest of the human being. I think, well, not I think, many human beings, if they are alive, would happy to testify, my experience with civilization ain't all that good. It's not all what it's cracked up to be. Let's hurry up and get through this. Prior to civilization, the human beings, we were, what I was taught, that we were nomads, that we were hunters and gatherers. And this was good. Guess what? When you was a nomad, when we was hunters and gatherers, you got your own water, got your own food, you did your own thing. We lived in family groups and really had to look out for each other because we needed each other to survive. You need that father, you need that grandfather, you need that mother. We looked out for ourselves in these family groups and we provide for ourselves. However, somewhere in time, somebody decided, man, I'm tired of all this damn walking. I don't want to be like the wildebeest, you know, walking up and back and forth and elephants migrating. I'm tired of doing that. So somebody figured out a way to stay permanent. And in order for you to stay permanent and still eat and survive, you have to be close to a water source. And they learn how to take the wild plants and domesticated them. In other words, they enslaved the plants and they enslaved the goat and the chickens and other animals because now we're permanently fixed and we're not going out in the forest. We're not going out in the area. We're not hunters and gatherers. We're producing our own food in this fixed area. And since the men were stronger than the women found themselves, instead of having certain roles that were equal, now the woman, the first human slave was women because they were weaker than the men, and the men used their strength to easily take them over and control them in this fixed area. Then eventually you had a dominant group that began to rise up, the ruling class, that would later be called royalty, kings and queens, and governors and whoever, presidents, whatever, this ruling class. And the purpose of the ruling class was to look out for what is in the best interest of this large family group that you're calling a tribe or eventually a nation. But the ruling class became corrupt. Instead of them serving the people, now they flip-flop and now the people are serving and praising them. There's nothing good about civilization. It's a silver lie. That's what it is. So in order to have civilization, now you have given somebody else control of your life. Somebody else is controlling your resources. You can't go get water. You don't get any water. You don't get any food. You don't get nothing. Somebody else, you have to go through another party in order to take care of yourself. Like right now, everything about you, you don't produce nothing yourself. You don't produce the electricity. You don't produce the food. You don't produce the water. Everything about us, we are under the control of other folks. That's not a good thing. So civilization seems good because of the technology. You got a computer, you got electricity, you got cars and buses, whatever. But now you don't have your life no more. Somebody is controlling your life. Somebody's dictating what you can and cannot do. And if you don't do it, either you die or you homeless on the street. When we were hunters and gatherers, There was no homeless people on the street. There was no drug addict. And when you gather people in these permanent fixed areas, you begin to produce unnatural behaviors, pedophilia, and of course, slavery, pedophilia, and rape, and murder, and lies, and slander. Everybody is a dog-eat-dog world because you can't go out and try to get nothing for yourself. So you fighting over resources back and forth, lying and stealing and cheating. It's just outrageous. And then in this fixed area, you need more as your population begins to grow. Then you begin to target your neighbors and others out in the community, and you go to war with them and murder people. Some of these people are extinct. You'll never know that they even exist because civilization killed them. So, to bring it up to date, current civilization is fueled by oil, by the discovery of oil. We are the product, and we're living the life that is made for us due to the production of oil. Everything about us is oil, 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 oil. Fossil fuels. This is unnatural. For millions, thousands, and millions of years, we live the primitive life. You live as an independent, but now you're stuck in this unnatural life, surrounded by oil, the burning of fossil fuels. And these fossil fuels is poisoning your air, poisoning your water, poisoning your food, poisoning your mind, all these toxins. That's why some of y'all crazy as hell. That's why you can't think. Giving your baby Similac and Enfamil milk and these crazy ass flu vaccines and shots and things of this nature. And pretty soon, because oil is not going to last forever, sooner or later, all of this got to bottom. It's got to bottom out. Now, could there be a balance between civilization and nature? It's a possibility, but your current leadership is not interested in it. They are enjoying the fruits of this mechanized industrial waste, because that's what it is. Not with these greedy folks, because they don't care about the future. As long, just like George Washington and all those forefathers, they knew that slavery was going to be a problem, but they didn't give a damn. The descendants of George Washington and the forefathers, your forefathers didn't give a damn about you. Now here you are, you got to deal with reparations and race hatred and all this garbage that slavery started. Because your forefathers didn't give a damn about you as long as they was living good. And you're still living with those who are in power, those who are in these positions. They don't care. As long as I can live good, because I'm going to be dead. I don't give a damn whether you live or die. As long as I can live good right now. That's the mentality. That's the mindset that you're living in right now. This is going to boom out. This got to come to an end. Fossil fuels is not going to last forever. So now we're living in a situation where the human being, you're putting yourself in a position whether we are going to live or die.
Things that make you go, you know, these aren't jokes, these are thoughts, these are things that make you say,
okay. Only have a few minutes. And that's the way, I like it, We want to talk about, this is a real funny, but it's not funny type subject matter, because there are those, if you speak to them and you suggest, or we talk about slavery, and I have heard many of you have said, oh, I could never be a slave. They would never make a slave out of me. They That is so funny. That is so funny. It's easy to say, oh, nobody make a slave out of me. I could never be a slave. The ones who say that have never experienced or know nothing about enslavement. So it's easy for you to talk about what you couldn't be made to do or whatever because you're not facing it. You never had to go through it. So in your arrogance, in your self-righteousness, and you lie to yourself, which it could not be a lie. But we're going to talk about the reason of why the chance of you being a slave is very, very high. Very, very high. I don't care what you say out of your mouth. Now, talk about what you gonna do and what somebody can't make you do. All over this country, including, what's her name? Amber Geiger. She's not going to do a lot of time, maybe 3 years at minimum or whatever. But anyway, do you think that she wants to go to prison? Do you think she wants to do jail time? Do you think anybody that's locked up in the federal penal system or jail or mental institution, do you think they wanted to be there? They want to go there voluntarily. Slavery is not about volunteer. It's about involuntary servitude. You're not doing it voluntarily. Somebody is going to make you be a slave. Somebody is going to force you to go to jail. Most people, if you gave them an opportunity, they will leave prison, they will leave jail. They don't want to be there, but they are forced. This is the bottom line. It's very simple. I don't care. Again, I don't care what you say out of your mouth. This is the key. If you can be broken, you can be a slave. Remember back in the Wild Wild West, they would get a horse and you had to break the horse. Matter of fact, that's really what the Willie Lynch letter is all about. It's based on the concept, the same concept they use in breaking a horse. They said we can use breaking a man, breaking a human being. So they get on the back of a wild horse, and that wild horse begins to jump and buck, and you hold on until that horse gets tired, that horse cannot buck no more, and you break that horse's spirit, and now that horse will allow you to ride on their back. Same concept. Even with human beings. When you first go to jail, when you first go to prison, you might buck a little bit, talking, buck. But you got a system riding your back. And there's not too much that you can do. And you buck. But most people break. And so you begin to accept your fate as a domesticated animal, this horse. You begin to accept your fate as a domesticated slave. Some of you say, I would die before I would become a slave. That's easier said than done. I hear folks say that all the time throughout the years. Oh, they can't, I'll die first. It's easy to say that when you don't have to face it. Easy to talk. Facing death is easier said than done. Threatening your life is the reason why you would give a carjacker your car. Somebody threatening your life is the reason why you give up your wallet and your jewels. Threatening your life is how all over the world people are controlled. If you don't do what we say, we will kill you. So death, threatening your life, is a tool that is used to make you a slave, to make you bow down to somebody else's will. Y'all act like people wanted to be slaves. The original ancestors that we come from, whether they are African or Aboriginal or other, however you see it, they knew what freedom was. And there's no way you can tell me they wanted to be slaves. But facing death, facing pain and torture, if you don't bow down to me, not only will I take your life, I will torture you. I will cut your fingers off. I'll cut your penis off. I'll make you suffer. You have a long, drawn-out death. Who's going to take that? Y'all not tough like that. Many of you can barely go without eating a meal every day. If I pinch you, you'll say, oh, ow, and act like you're going to die. You can't stand no hurt. You can't stand no pain. Wouldn't take long to break you. I know what you say out your mouth. And you comfortable wearing your little pretty clothes and all like that. But y'all not tough. I know you're not tough. You live comfortable in your air conditioning. And you have heat in the wintertime. You go to the grocery store, all that food is available to you. You know, you just live so comfortable. It would be easy to break you. And then there are those like ourselves. We were born into a slave-like condition. And you think having privilege is freedom. This is not freedom. I could even go as far as to say that even those who believe they have freedom don't really have it. You don't have freedom when you or we as a people don't provide for ourselves. You don't have freedom if we as individuals don't provide for yourself. When the government or somebody else is growing your food, building your house, making your shoes, whether they are your people or not, as an individual or as a people, when you become dependent upon an outside source, that outside source has the ability to make a slave out of your ass. And that's what you see every day. A bunch of slaves clogging up the highways, doing a 9 to 5, a bunch of slaves going to work day in and day out. And you relax by coming to YouTube until it's time for you to go back to the slave plantation. And some of you, the slave master let you play on your telephone to make your servitude a little happier and a little easier so you can listen to my video or whatever on your slave ass job. Tell what you will and will not do. I don't care how strong as a man you are. I don't care how big as a man you are. If a group of other men, 10, 5, 10, 3 or whatever or more, what are you going to do to stop those men from raping you? You can't fight 10 men. You might be able to hold a certain group of men off for a certain amount of time. You got to get tired. They are going to do what they need to do. And you're going to bow down. And once you get broke, once you get broke. Oh, but see, you don't have to. Just because you get raped by men don't mean you have to go there. But they do. It's embarrassing. It's humiliating. And they break you. Not because you want to. Because what you say, what you what I can somebody make me do. When you are denied food and water and other necessities, we'll see how long you last before you break. I'll do what you say because you starving and you have no food, have no water. And those who are breaking you that have these things, you ready to be the slave? Ready to go pick that cotton? Yeah. Here's a biscuit. Now go. I give you the rest of the biscuit after you finish picking 15 pounds of cotton or whatever. Women are slaves all the time because women are denied a lot of the resources. So women bow down to men, and women do things for men they normally would not do, but the men have the money, they have the resources, they have these things. So these women bow down, not really because you want to, because you're trying to live, you're trying to survive, and that's what it's all about. You're trying to save your life and make your life easier, so you do what you have to do. And that's what slavery is about. So don't tell me talking about, I could never be no slave. Yes, if you want to live, if you don't want to suffer, and y'all so comfortable and so spoiled, it wouldn't take nothing to put you back on that plantation. Because you're so spoiled, you're so weak. Be easy to break you. I've seen people, when I was locked up, I've seen people that was murderers. I seen gang members talk about how tough they was. Next thing you know, they was crying like a damn baby. I want to go home. Here you are, deserve to be in jail. You've killed somebody. I want to go home. You scared to lose your job. You won't fight for your rights. You're just weak and you're spoiled. And I hear you, and I just shake my head because y'all like to live in la la land. You live in some kind of fake world. You're not tough. You don't live in a manner to be tough. You have no willpower. It would be easy. Just take a little food. Take your job away from you. Take a little food and a little water. You'll break. Y'all will break. You'll sell each other out. You'll kill each other for a crumb of bread. We already know y'all. I'm not. You can't make a slave out of me. You're already a damn slave. You don't produce nothing for yourself. So it would be easy. Others control your very existence. Don't come to me talking about, I wouldn't be a slave. Very few would rather die. It's natural for us to want to live.
Free your mind.
And without unity, you're done. And maybe that's a good thing. And maybe that's a good thing that you're done and go extinct so nobody never knew your crazy ass ever existed in the first place. Could be a good thing. Now, we talk about unity, and then there are these pro-black Negroes. They want to drag brothers and sisters from the past. Now, mind you, they themselves have done nothing close to what these people accomplished. Nothing. Nowhere close. But they can find something wrong to try to make it look like they are better. They're bringing something different. So they want to talk about Huey Newton. Let's talk about the Black Panthers, using the Black Panthers for an example. And they want to drag Huey Newton because as time went on, as you know, Huey Newton, he left the street, he left the Black Panther Party basically. I don't know if he actually left, but he got caught up in drugs, criminal activity. I heard he was a pimp. He pimped sisters out or whatever. And Huey Newton died from gunshot wounds, a heroin addict or whatever. Sad. It's sad, isn't it? And then we want to drag Eldridge Cleaver. Eldridge Cleaver, people are trying to spread the rumor as best they can because they don't want you to, don't look up to Huey Newton no more. Don't look up to Eldridge Cleaver anymore because they were really some scumbags. Eldridge Cleaver, the rumor is being said, and we're being taught that Eldridge Cleaver was a rapist. He practiced raping black women, and he wanted to go ahead and get good at raping so he could graduate to raping white women to make the white man pay for the rape of the black woman. Stuff like that. Okay. So let's just say that it is true. Huey Newton died a drug addict. He pimped black women at the end of his days. And Eldridge Cleaver raped black women. Are you saying, brother, you are advocating these things? No, I'm not. I would never advocate these things. What I will say to you is y'all always run around here talk about COINTELPRO, agents and spies, and you go around and do the same crap that they do. They go try to find dirt. They try to find dirt on Malcolm. They try to find dirt on Dr. King, and y'all doing the same damn thing. To do what? To bring them down. Why is it necessary? What is it that you seek? What are you trying to accomplish? Because you telling people that Huey Newton was a pimp at the end of his life or whatever, and a dope fiend, or that Eldridge Cleaver was a rapist. What are you seeking to accomplish? What is the purpose? They are both dead and gone. Above all, what have you accomplished better than them? Have you accomplished more than a dope fiend? Have you accomplished more than this rapist? Brother, what are you saying? Are you trying to justify? Are you trying to defend this type of behavior? No, what I'm trying to say to you is that you're doing the same stuff. And what I'm trying to understand, what is your purpose? What is your purpose trying to drag the Black Panther Party? Then, of course, as you know, and this is a fact, toward the end of the Black Panther Party, they began to bring in Caucasian women and Caucasian men, boyfriends, and they took money from celebrities and all that kind of stuff toward the end. This is true. This is true. It was power to the people. They're trying to say when the Black Panther Party first begun, it was power to the people. It was not power to the people. But then, so what if it was? No people, nobody should want to be oppressed. And during the 1960s, not only were black folks, soul brothers and sisters oppressed, there were Caucasian people coming up because they were different. Their ideology, they was against the Vietnam War and all that. They were being oppressed too. Power to the people and not the government. So what? So what if it did mean that? But we know in the very beginning, we do know from the very beginning, when they said power to the people, they actually did mean soul brothers and sisters. We know that. But you got these freaks, these bastards trying to spin things because they are the agents that they call other people. Again, what are you trying to accomplish by telling people these things? Oh man, you trying to defend rape. You trying to defend. This is what I'm trying to defend. Your right to be liberated by all means necessary, at any means necessary. And I want to use this as an example. these folks want to bring in their morality. They're self-righteous. They are better than Huey Newton. They're better. They have their morality. This is the point I want to make with you. One of the greatest generals during the Civil War was Ulysses S. Grant, General Grant.